Want more Gators Breakdown? Join Gators Breakdown Plus. Starting at $3 a month, get access to unique episodes, plus a blog, chat room, giveaways, shout-outs, and more. Gators Breakdown Plus is furthering the interaction with fans and listeners like you. Head to gatorsbreakdown.supportingcast.fm to join Gators Breakdown Plus today. Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Good news for Gator Nation as Isaiah Nixon commits to the Gators. If you've been listening, if you've been out there paying attention to the Gator news, of course, if you listened to the last episode of Gators Breakdown, this was one we told you to watch out for. It was all trending here. You know, I wasn't breaking any news or anything. That was just a trend going on out there. So, of course, just kind of told you to be on the lookout for this one. And, of course, that we would be having an episode if it happened. So about 30, 45 minutes ago, he made it official there. But we kind of knew it was trending. We were kind of waiting on it. He had an Instagram post this morning saying a big announcement this afternoon. And at about 2 o'clock on Tuesday, Isaiah Nixon flips his commitment from UCF, decommitted from UCF yesterday, flips to the Gators, and the Gators get their highest rated recruit currently in the class of 2023. Of course, a lot of recruiting news out there too. I'll update Jaden Rashada later on in the episode too, but let's give Isaiah Nixon all the attention he deserves for this episode here, being the Gators' newest commitment. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out here on Gators Breakdown to count down to 10,000 subs before the college football season kicks off. That's where I want to be. Need your help there. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Of course, good news here for the Gators and getting their newest commitment. Be sure to check us out at the home of Gators Breakdown, news4jax.com/Gators Breakdown. Hey, and look, also Gators Breakdown Plus, a big shout out there. A lot of new signups, a lot of new memberships in the last few days or so. Everybody who's hopped on board lately, a lot of good info being shared there on the Discord chat. So everybody, thank you so much for hopping on board Gators Breakdown. We've made a pretty good community right there on Gators Breakdown Plus. So Gator Nation, let's get to it. We got to commit. Isaiah Nixon commits to the Gators. Flips from UCF, 4-star. 6'4", 215-pound edge rusher, as you can see right here. If you're watching the YouTube version, you can see 4-star on the 24/7 Sports Composite, 194th ranked player in the country, 26th ranked edge rusher in the country. On 3 thinks even higher of Nixon, a 4-star there as well. He ranks 169th overall, about 30 spots higher, 25 spots higher, and then he is the 22nd ranked edge player in the class of 2023, right there on the On3 consensus. So you notice mentioned as an edge rusher there, that's what he's labeled as, and as far as the recruiting services go, but he looks like he'll fit at outside linebacker, that jack role. We'll get into that just a bit too, but looks like he'll be playing that Brenton Cox position that we'll see him play this fall for the Gators. So we'll get an idea for how Patrick Toney's going to use that position, but that seems to be where Isaiah Nixon's going to be filling in when he gets to campus. 24/7 Sports gives him a rating of 92.2. That would put him as the 39th ranked defensive lineman on the 24/7 Sports all-time commitment list for defensive linemen at Florida. But since he's projected to play outside linebacker, and if that rating translates, if those same numbers, I mean, he's pretty, that position, the edge rush, outside linebacker, if they labeled him a linebacker, I don't think it would change all that much. But since he's projected to play outside linebacker, if that same rating translates, he'd be the 20th ranked linebacker all time for the Gators. And these rankings go back to the early 2000s. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying he's the 20th overall recruited in the history of Gator football. Just got to kind of remember these recruiting services started with these databases in the early 2000s. So big kudos there for Isaiah Nixon, a big-time get for the Gators there. As, of course, as I said, with his commitment, Nixon becomes the highest rated player in the class of 2023 for the Gators. Andrew Ivins from 24/7 Sports projects Nixon as a Power 5 starter, scouts him as a lean edge defender that uses elite short area quickness to redirect and make plays behind the line of scrimmage. Over 6'3", but we need to add some functional strength right away as he's under 220. Spent much of his junior season standing up, but also put his hand in the dirt here and there. So there you go, kind of the versatility, the outside linebacker, the jack, the end. He's done it. He's done it both so far in his career, in his high school career. Bez kind of going back, spent much of his junior season standing up, also put his hand in the dirt here and there. Doesn't take long to get to work as he uses an impressive burst to shoot into the backfield or get outside and run the arc. Plays with a nice forward lean, always seems to be in control of his body. Here's what I like. A bit of a violent finisher that will latch onto a ball carrier, drag them to the ground, can win with a few speed moves, but must continue to get better at the point of attack. Ability to make plays in space or outside the hashes is without a doubt one of his biggest strengths heading into his senior season as he excels in backside pursuit. Fluid movement patterns combined with elite testing numbers, 7.18 in the L drill and 4.49 in the short shuttle, suggest that he can be an effective pass rusher on Saturdays, assuming, of course, that he's given time to undergo some type of physical transformation once lifting in college. Likely to find most success in a 3-4 front, might be some value in coverage, having seen him play some tight end wide receiver on the camp circuit. So for a Lakewood team last year that went 10-3, made the third round of Florida's 4A playoffs, he totaled 75 tackles, 24 for loss, and 10 sacks in 11 games per Max Preps. Big time get for the Gators right there, and excited to see how he'll fit into. I mean, look, we're excited to see Patrick Tony's defense that's coming up this year anyway, because we get the, we saw the spring practice, we saw the spring game. It was limited. Ready to see kind of watching Brenton Cox, watching other players play that edge role this year. And given that pedigree, given that little summary from Andrew Ivins there of 24/7 Sports, man, I tell you, a lot to look forward to there. Yes, he will have to add some pounds, and that's why you don't see him as that traditional hand-in-the-dirt defensive end, maybe not really all that much in college. So Mike Peterson, of course, kind of behind the scenes here, did a good job, and that kind of lends to believe more of that outside linebacker role as well. So, look, it was a bit of a surprise when he committed to Central Florida. Back in the spring, as it seemed, as Florida kind of seemed to be the school to beat in the first place, but that ends up being the case anyway. No harm, no foul, as they say, kind of coming from that visit this past weekend. It was just a matter of time when he would flip from UCF, go public with Florida. Big time pickup here from the staff, all involved: Billy Napier, Mike Peterson, Sean Spencer, defensive coordinator Patrick Toney, Jamar Chaney as well. So, listed as that edge rusher, but they see him in that outside linebacker jack role. So certainly has to add some weight and muscle, being that 215 frame right now, but probably, as I said, a sign that a traditional defensive end role, unlikely, unless he just finds more than we think he will as far as size goes, but excited to see him. I mean, he's supposed to be this pass rush specialist. That's what they're going to develop him to be. And given that analysis there, looks like he'll fit pretty good in that role for the Gators. So big time pickup, highest commit in the class so far for Billy Napier. And hopefully continues a good week. Tommy Kinsler to go along with there. So, yeah, of course, Nixon, the 7th commit in the class so far for the Gators, to go along with Aaron Gates, Najee Harris, defensive back Aaron Gates, offensive lineman Najee Harris, wide receiver Creed Whittemore, offensive lineman Bryce Lovett, Tyree Patterson at wide receiver, and, of course, Tommy Kinsler, newest offensive line commit from a couple days ago. Who's next? Who could be the next commit for the Gators? Going back to that from the last episode as well. So we're kind of just Now take Isaiah Nixon out of there. And luckily, all the hints and everything that were going along with him committing to the Gators, it played out that way. But of course, I know the big one out there, Jaden Rashada. We'll get into more of the details. Could he be next? Also, wide receiver Eugene Wilson are the two really to look out for right now. We know Rashada will be probably committing on Sunday. That's the date. We don't know if it shouldn't change. That should be it. But also Eugene Wilson, as I said, the wide receiver there from Tampa, says there's a report out there that he would make his decision this week. We'll see where that one goes, if that's to be the case. But that's probably, if he's going to do it before Sunday, that would be the next one. If he goes forward with his commitment, if not, it'll be Jaden Rashada on Sunday. So there you go. You're looking at, there's your next two possible, hopefully both. We're sitting here talking about who could be the next. I'm hoping we're talking about both of them in the coming days here in Gator Nation and right here on Gators Breakdown. But one other aspect I wanted to get into with this commitment, mentioning Sean Spencer and how it's starting to come around where all these visits are happening, and the targets Florida now has along this defensive front. I'm going to throw it up here on the graphic. I'll go through it so everybody who's listening in the podcast version gets the sense of it as well. But I'm telling you what, there is absolutely no way Florida's not at least going to have, quote unquote, really good defensive line class, and could be even better. I'm going to throw it up right here. Trending up in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball are the Gators. I'll go through the list and the rankings right here, and then kind of a little bit of insight, maybe where some guys are leaning, Florida's feel on them, and all that. But let's start, of course, Derek LeBlanc, the 77th ranked player on 24/7 Sports Composite. He's 72nd on the on-3 consensus. I mean, there's like 9 players here where Florida up front, whether it be a defensive tackle, whether it be a defensive end, Florida is in great shape for. And we start right there with Derek LeBlanc, a top 100 player. Another top 100 player coming off of a visit, Keldrick Falk, 84th ranked player on the 24/7 Sports Composite, 62nd ranked player on the on-3 consensus. John Walker, 97th ranked player on the 24/7 Sports Composite. He's 92 on the on-3 consensus. So there's right there 3 players in the top 100 Florida's heavily in the mix for. It might even be the team to beat for LeBlanc and Walker. Made a huge impression there with Falk. I still think Auburn might be the team to beat there, but still putting themselves in the mix. Now, add in Xavier Hardy, recently on campus, the 112th ranked player in the 24/7 Sports Composite, the 115th on the on 3. Will Norman, 115th ranked player on 24/7, 129th on 3. There you go, right there on the cusp of top 100 players. Right there are Hardy and Norman. TJ Searcy, Florida trending heavy for him lately in the recent weeks. 153rd ranked player on the 24/7 Sports Composite, also 153 on the on-3 consensus. Jordan Hall, 156th ranked player on the 24/7 Sports Composite, 133rd on 3. Cameron James, 253rd ranked player on 24/7 Sports, 348 on 3. And to round it out, Gainesville, local, native, Gavin Hill, 258th ranked player, 251st on 3. I mean, right there, make sure I got that number right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players along the defensive front. Top 250 players. Florida is trending, may even be the lead for some. I mean, Florida's in great shape here. Sean Spencer leading the way, but also can't shy away with Patrick Toney as a defensive coordinator. Mike Pete helping out a little bit up front. Jamar Chaney playing huge roles here. I mean, watching the dominoes right here, it'll be interesting to watch how timing is going to be so important here. Go with Will Norman, trending heavily for Florida. Be another great pickup for IMG there. Xavier Hardy was thought to silently commit to Florida back in the spring, then maybe trending South Carolina. Just named Florida as leader. Cameron James, we discussed last episode, coming off his visit this past weekend. Gator seems to be the leader there as well. TJ Searcy from Georgia, another name Florida may be the leader for. I know some people who feel really good about where Florida sits with him. His mom loves Florida. Jordan Hall from Jacksonville, West Side, he'll be worth waiting on. He says he's going to decide in February, take it all the way to the distance, but the Gators in prime position there too. Keldrick Falk, as I mentioned, new name coming around. He's from Alabama. Auburn's going to be hard to beat there, but Florida visit this past weekend really opened his eyes. Gators heavily in the mix there. And, of course, as I said, can't forget about Derek LeBlanc. Been trending for the Gators, pushed his decision back to October with some of his teammates. There with John Walker. Been on campus so much. Great relationship with the staff and players. See how that one plays out. As far as Walker, at the Florida-Ohio State battle right there. Ohio State, of course, hot on the recruiting trail with wide receiver commits right now. Hopefully he'll leave as Walker if you catch my drift there. But he grew up a Gator fan. Hopefully that one teams out, works out right there. But Gavin Hill recently offered by the Gator staff from Gainesville, local. Florida's got a lot of options here, a lot of top tier talent here. Talking about where you need to be best in the SEC. Bill Sykes will have a preview coming up with some of this stuff. I've been seeing a little bit of his research here, and I'm telling you, defensive line, defensive tackle cannot be overlooked. A top position if you want to succeed in the SEC. And this list I just named off. Obviously Florida's not going to get all these targets, but in great shape for a lot of these guys. Timing's important. Once one pops, there's one less spot. Does that set some dominoes? Does it have a ripple effect? As I said, you got the storyline of Jordan Hall, 156th ranked player in the country out of Jacksonville. You'd love to get him. A lot of these guys are state of Florida guys too. That you could send a big message. A lot of messages here. First of all, the importance of defensive line in the SEC. Second of all, state of Florida talent. Hotbed talent, Orlando, Jacksonville, IMG. A lot of storylines here in this defensive line recruiting where Florida's going to get they're going to fill out the class more than likely with this list I just named. LeBlanc, Falk, Walker, Hardy, Norman, Searcy, Hall, James, Gill. More than likely. What, 4 or 5 more? 3, 4, 5 more, I don't want to stretch it too much, but more likely going to be out of these top 250 players. Credit to the staff here for, getting this position group really trending the right way. Love that list right there. Love that list. You can't overstate it enough. And like I said, we'll have, I'm not going to steal Bill Sykes' thunder there with his research that he's doing. He's going to be on Gators Breakdown next week, but I'll keep that list handy right there. And you'll go back and see how important it is for success in the SEC. So, all right, there we go. Good stuff happening today on the recruiting trail for the Gators. Hopefully it all continues this week. As far as the latest on that, and quarterback target Jaden Rashada, midweek visit to Miami. Made it into Miami on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday visit for him. See what that means for the Gators. Of course, if anything happens there, there'll be some time to maybe come back around to to keep fighting, to maybe change the decision, however it goes. But that's the latest there, midweek visit. It's not going to be a weekend visit. Confirmed he is in Miami visiting the Hurricanes. So, of course, there's a football side of this. The football side of this, Florida makes all the sense in the world. If AR has the season we think you can have, you got a chance for competing for a job as a true freshman. with other quarterbacks Florida has, and maybe coming out with a job. AR comes back. Okay, well, you get to learn from him. Sit behind him for at least a year, no more than that. Now, a lot of other schools can sell that role too. Maybe Miami, of course. Van Dyke isn't going to be there, but they got Garcia waiting in the wings. So the depth chart's friendly at Florida. Get to play in the SEC. Still get that SEC spotlight. Coached by Billy Napier. You know, football side of it makes a whole lot of sense, but of course, the NIL side of that's going to play a role as well. Florida's going to be ready there. What's that side of it going to look like from Miami? I think that's good. That's the storyline. You don't know if what will get out there about that, but there'll be two sides to this: a football side, how heavy does that weigh, and an NIL side, how much does that weigh? Time will tell. But that's the latest. Did make the Miami visit midweek, so if timing's important for you, midweek should be better than a weekend visit, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He's supposed to commit on Sunday, so you'll take a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday visit. As I said, could give Florida a chance to come back around, check in, see where the feeling is. If you got more work to do that work. But we'll see where it ends up right there Sunday on Jaden Rashada. So update, if he commits to Florida, of course, there will be an episode on Sunday of Gators Breakdown. If he doesn't, I'll probably just wait to get I'll probably do something. Don't know completely what, but me, Will Miles, Bill Sykes already have an episode planned for kind of the reaction of it. If he commits, of course, an episode like this, what are we getting in Jaden Rashada, all that kind of stuff will be had out there. If not, probably we'll just wait on a normal episode there with Bill and Will next Tuesday, so a week from today. But hopefully there's an episode in between there. As I said, Eugene Wilson supposed to maybe commit sometime this week. Maybe Florida gets another top of the line recruit. So there you go. That's the latest. Catching up with recruiting a bit. I'll check some of the YouTube comments before I get off here. Let's see. I don't want to bore people going. I've got to read these at the same time. Matthew Walker, let's see. As good as this is, we got to upgrade the wide receiver depth. Always look for quarterbacks too, because right now it's AR or bust. Like as I said, that's kind of why there's a friendly depth chart right there for Rashada. Hopefully Eugene Wilson is the step in the right direction for upgrading the wide receiver room coming up this week. And then go from there. Aiden Mazzell coming off of a Georgia visit this past weekend. Still like where Florida sits right there. Looks like he had a good time at Georgia. Of course, what recruit's not going to have a good time at Georgia, but trending the right direction for Mazzell there for the Gators. Let's see. I know it can be kind of boring as I go and sift through these comments. There's a lot of comments too, so I definitely won't be able to get rid of all of them, or get through all of them. There we go. If I can talk, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time, so get me in trouble just a bit. Let's see. Sportsy says, top QB is big momentum swing with recruits. Absolutely. I think I said that on an episode. I don't remember if it was a Gators Breakdown Plus episode. I don't think it was. Last Gators Breakdown Plus episode was something for you all out there. But that's why the fallback plan here will be if it's not Rashada, a lower rated quarterback, or you wait for the transfer portal. But that's why I think there is some importance with Rashada, because he can affect the class right now. If you wait for transfer portal quarterback, you're waiting until the end of this coming up season, more than likely. How big of an effect does that have on the current class? Probably not a whole lot. Get Rashada in here, then I think a couple of wide receivers out there start turning their heads and looking at Florida just a bit more. Brian Little kind of going to a point there. Yep, just kind of reaffirming Billy needs to keep setting up that fence around Jacksonville and Orlando. Absolutely. Another, of course, kind of forgot. Miami did get a Emory Williams quarterback commit. That's not supposed to play a huge factor here. Miami will take 2 quarterbacks. You won't turn Jaden Rashada away, of course, if it ends up being Miami as the pick just because they have a quarterback. You're not going to turn him away. So Miami will take 2 quarterbacks. What does that mean for Emory Williams? I mean, that's not really Florida's problem, but that's just an interesting storyline to go along right there. If you kind of want to look at more storylines surrounding this recruitment, that is one I should have brought up, but circle back around to it. Put it in here anyway. Let's see. I'll go through a couple more right here. Sportsy also says LeBlanc is 3rd-ranked defensive line of 24/7. Yeah, I mean, like I said, huge pickup. A lot of targets right there for Florida. Florida's going to have a good defensive line in the class of 2023. No doubt about it. No doubt about it with that list. Okay. There we go. That'll do it. That will do it. For this episode of Gators Breakdown, one more just because of the episode here. Supreme Kai, Nixon is a beast. This episode, Isaiah Nixon. We're reviewing that. Him committing to the Gators. As I said, one more time, the highest commit in the class so far. See how long that holds up. Hopefully not. No shot at him. Hopefully not much longer with the targets that we're talking about coming up this week for the Gators. Hopefully we're talking and IDing a couple more commits here. But nice that now we're starting to see that what needs to happen, the talent level, come up a bit. And with these targets that are out there right now, that's exactly what's going to happen if they commit to Florida. So, all right, there we go. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Everybody, thanks for hopping on right here in the middle of the day as Isaiah Nixon commits to the Gators. I'm the host of Gators Breakdown, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thanks for listening to this episode of Gators Breakdown.